I do want to take a look at the fact that Israel has struck military targets in Iran in a retaliatory attack that a senior US official described as extensive but precise. Iran has said that 3 sites were hit and that limited damage was caused. Well, joining us to discuss this is Dr. Efrat Sofer, who is a security analyst and expert specializing in Iranian-Israeli relations and history. She also serves as a chair of the board of advisors at the Esri Center for Iran and Gulf States Research at Haifa University. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. President Biden has said that he hopes that this will draw a line under the current round of hostilities. Other people are saying this is escalatory, what Israel have done. Which do you think is more likely to be true?
Well, thanks for having me on, Natasha, to talk about this very historic event. I think that it is somewhere in the middle. I think Israel's attack was very restrained. There were calls inside of Israel to hit at nuclear targets. Iran has nuclear weapon aspirations and is really advanced on that journey, which is worrying the entire international community. And also, there were calls for Israel to hit oil facilities, which would have crippled the Iranian economy. And here we saw that from what the Israelis are reporting, 20 facilities in Iran were targeted, military facilities. And these were air defense systems, the S-300 long-range missile system, and factory, which incidentally are long-range missiles that the Russians are also using in Ukraine.
Okay. So, the Pakistani foreign minister has said that Israel bears full responsibility for escalation of conflict and that their actions undermine the path to regional peace and stability. I suspect from what you've told me so far that you would think that those comments were not correct and a bit unfair.
I think they're exceedingly unfair. It was Iran that launched over 300 missiles and drones at Israel directly on April 14th and on October 1st. And it was the first time in history that this had happened, as well as Iran's proxies waging a 7-front war against Israel. So I think in light of that, no other sovereign country would have taken that lying down. And so I think this response has been very, very restrained. What we should also see, Natasha, I think it's interesting to see how inside Iran, the Iranian regime really responded to it. So they made it look like nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Daytime TV, but on the ground, the security forces mobilized around the sites and around other sensitive areas to prevent protests from happening. This is interesting because there is a massive opposition movement inside Iran that the Iranian regime is suppressing.
That is interesting. And the people who are protesting are protesting presumably the Iranian government, or they fundamentally disagree with the conflict with Israel?
They fundamentally disagree with the Iranian regime.
Okay.
And Israel's attack, and Israel, I think, was quite careful to choose IRGC, Iranian regime targets, rather than anything that would have hurt Iranian civilians or even Iranian specific cultural sites or anything that would have harmed the Iranian psyche, so to speak.
And what you were speaking about just a moment ago, saying that the way that this has been presented in Iranian media is very much as no big deal, almost as a kind of failed attempt by Israel. Should we therefore feel optimistic about that because it looks like Iran is trying to draw a line under it as well?
I think it would be very wise of Iran to draw a line under this because what Israel's attack did was take out Iranian defense systems. So if there were to be a theoretical, hypothetical next strike, Iran would be in a very, very bad position. And so I think Iranian decision makers, I would hope, would know that any other retaliation would be highly escalatory because European countries and the United States have said that they will stand by Israel's right to self-defense.
Dr. Efrat Sofa, thank you so much. Security analyst and expert specialising in Iranian-Israeli relations and history there, bringing us up to date.